Ladies and gentlemen, we often speak of betrayal as if it comes from outside, from the hands of others, from circumstances, from fate. But the truth is far more uncomfortable. The truth is painful. You are not betrayed by accident. You are betrayed by design, your own design. On the shadow you refuse to see. There are parts of yourself you've locked away, buried beneath the smile, the ambition, the charm, desires you fear, rage you suppress, envy you pretend not to feel. These pieces do not disappear. They sink, they wait, they become the shadow. And what you do not face within, you will meet without. You are betrayed not because the world is cruel, but because you have not yet made peace with your own darkness. The betrayer often acts as a mirror. They reflect back what you deny in yourself. Their lie echoes your own. Their disloyalty awakens the parts of you that betrayed your own soul long ago. Aye, the idol you chose to worship. You give your trust too quickly, not because you are noble, but because you are hungry. You want someone to save you, to complete you, to carry what you cannot bear to hold alone. And you project. You see loyalty where there is only need. You see love where there is control. You see forever in someone who barely knows themselves. But no one can live up to your fantasy. The higher you lift them, the harder they fall. And when they do, the pain is not just that they broke your trust. It's that they shattered the image you built to avoid meeting yourself. A transformation that you refuse to embrace. Betrayal is not just an end. It is a beginning, if you allow it. It is the fire that burns the illusions, the storm that reveals the truth beneath the surface. But most refuse the call. They blame, they numb, they become bitter or cold. And in doing so, they ensure the betrayal will repeat again and again, each time more brutal, more intimate. Until one day you stop asking, why did they do this to me? And begin asking, what in me allowed it? What pattern, what blindness, what fear invited this lesson once again? That is the moment you wake up. That is the moment the cycle begins to break. So the next time you are betrayed, don't rush to throw stones. Sit with the ache, let it burn, let it reveal, and ask yourself, not in shame, but in fierce, holy honesty, what part of me needed this pain to finally see the truth? The first and most painful truth about betrayal is that it does not come from nowhere. It arises from the very depths of your own unconscious. You are not only the victim of betrayal, you are also its architect unknowingly. This isn't to say you deserved it or ask for it, but rather that something hidden within you may have helped set the stage for it to unfold. And that something is what ancient minds have called the shadow, the part of you that you reject, deny, and push out of your awareness. You spend your life constructing an identity, a version of yourself that is lovable, admirable, safe, successful, righteous. In doing so, everything that does not fit into that image is buried. Your anger, your envy, your craving for power, your manipulative tendencies, these become exiled parts of your psyche. You do not look at them, but they are still very much alive, operating from the dark. And what you push away in yourself, you will unconsciously attract in others. This is not superstition, it is psychological gravity. You might wonder why betrayal feels so personal, so sharp, so destabilizing. It's because the betrayer often acts out a drama that your unconscious has been rehearsing behind closed doors. They embody the very qualities you deny in yourself. If you've repressed your own ambition, you may find yourself betrayed by someone who used you to climb higher. If you've hidden away your manipulative tendencies, you may find yourself ensnared in the games of someone else. What hurts most is not only what they did, but what it reflects about your own blind spots. This is not about blame, it is about revelation. When betrayal arrives, it rips open the curtain, it exposes your unexamined assumptions, your unhealed wounds, your hidden motivations. It asks you to face the part of yourself you'd rather keep in the dark. And until you do, the pattern will repeat. Different faces, same betrayal. Because your unconscious is not content with silence. It demands to be known. It will shout through external events what you refuse to hear in the quiet of your own mind. So when betrayal visits you, pause before you curse the world. Pause before you harden your heart or drown in self-pity. Ask instead, what is this revealing about me? Not in judgment, but in curiosity. What truth have I avoided? What role have I unknowingly played? What lesson is trying to surface? Betrayal, when seen with clear eyes, becomes not just a wound, but a mirror. And the one who learns to read the reflection can begin to reclaim what was lost. Not only trust, but something even deeper, the wholeness of the self. Betrayal often feels like the shattering of something sacred, a bond, a promise, a sense of safety. But if you trace the pain back to its source, you will find that the betrayal did not begin with the action. It began with your projection. You did not see the person as they truly were. You saw them as you needed them to be. This is the quiet and devastating mistake. You placed them on a pedestal that they never asked to stand on. You wrapped them in illusions woven from your own longings. You called it trust or love or loyalty. But beneath that was something more fragile. Your hope that someone outside of you could fulfill what you have not yet faced within. The dream of being understood without words. The fantasy of being protected without vulnerability. The craving for someone to hold your brokenness without you having to reveal it. And so you gave too much, too quickly. You ignored the small signs, the quiet contradictions. You excused what didn't feel right. You looked away when something inside you whispered, this is not solid, because it felt better to believe, because it felt safer to idealize than to be alone. But projections are not love, they are not connection, they are a mirror turned outward, reflecting the parts of yourself you don't yet know how to hold. The person you trusted, the one who later betrayed you, may not have been cruel, they may not have lied, they may have simply failed to live up to the version of them you created, and when they couldn't hold the weight of your idealism, it felt like a betrayal. But was it? Or was it a collapse of the fantasy? This is the painful part, seeing how much of your suffering came not from what they did, but from what you imagined. The image of the perfect friend, the loyal partner, the unshakable ally, these were your creations. And like all illusions, they are destined to break. What you project onto others, especially unconsciously, becomes a burden they can never carry without eventually breaking under its weight. To stop being betrayed, you must stop projecting. You must learn to see people as they are, not as you want them to be. This requires slowing down. It requires listening to the discomfort. It requires questioning the instinct to rush into trust, to call someone different or safe too soon. It demands that you take back what you've handed over, that you meet your own needs instead of outsourcing them to others who never agreed to that role. There is no freedom in fantasy, there is no safety in illusion, but there is a profound kind of peace in seeing clearly, in letting people be human, in holding your own longing instead of casting it like a spell onto someone else. Betrayal often begins the moment you stop seeing a person and start seeing a projection. And healing begins when you finally return to reality, to yourself, and choose to connect without illusion. Betrayal is not only an act that wounds, it is also a threshold. It appears in your life not simply to cause pain, but to deliver a message. to initiate a change you have long resisted. Yet most people do not treat it this way. They treat betrayal as a curse, as bad luck, as an injustice inflicted upon them by a cruel world. They rage or retreat. They numb themselves or build walls, but very few are willing to sit in the ashes long enough to see the shape of the transformation trying to rise. Pain has a purpose. It is a signal that something within you must evolve. Betrayal strikes so deeply because it touches the core of your being, your sense of trust, your beliefs about others, your very identity. And because of this, it has the power to unravel the stories you've clung to about who you are, what you deserve, and how the world is supposed to work. This unraveling is not destruction. It is initiation, but only if you allow it. When you are betrayed, the ego seeks to protect itself. It wants to stay unchanged. It says, they were wrong and I was right. It wants to preserve your sense of innocence and righteousness. But transformation doesn't happen where there is comfort. It happens when you begin to ask harder questions. Why did this hurt me so deeply? What have I not yet healed? What patterns have I repeated? These questions are not about blaming yourself. They are about becoming conscious. They are about reclaiming your power from the places you've unknowingly given it away. If you reject this invitation, the wound festers. You may become bitter, cynical, guarded. You may start to believe that no one is trustworthy, that betrayal is inevitable, that love is dangerous. You carry the past into the present, ensuring that it repeats. This is how cycles are born, not from fate, but from unintegrated pain, from refusing the fire and instead letting it burn you again and again. But if you choose to step through the fire consciously, something else happens. You begin to change. You begin to see yourself more clearly. Not just the parts you're proud of, but all of you. You take responsibility for the roles you've played, for the intuition you ignored, for the needs you externalized. And in doing so, you reclaim your center. You become wiser, deeper, stronger, not hard, but whole. This is the alchemy of betrayal. It breaks what is false to reveal what is true. It destroys illusions to open the path to authenticity. But this transformation cannot be forced, and it cannot be avoided. It must be chosen. You must be willing to feel the pain, not just escape it. To face what's inside, not just blame what's outside. This is the cost of freedom. This is the price of becoming fully alive. So if betrayal has come, don't ask only, why did this happen to me? Ask instead, what part of me is ready to awaken?